Hello and welcome to today's YouTube episode. My name is Amelia and on today's sewing adventure I'm going to be making the Jones trousers by Goldfinch Textile Studio. So let's get started. So I thought that I would start today by telling you what I am wearing. Today I am wearing the True Bias Nikko top. It is in a really lovely cotton ribbed fabric that I got from one of the Guthrie and Ghani Society sewing boxes quite a while ago. And this was the first Nikko top I ever made, and I do wear it a lot, especially under like dungarees and dungaree dresses, and also with jeans like I am today. So these are the Megan Nelson Ash jeans. They're made with this lovely indigo denim fabric that I got from Fabric Godmother. The Jones trousers is a zero waist pattern, and I have explained that before. It means that all of the pattern pieces, when you cut them out, fit together a bit like a jigsaw puzzle. As you can see on the screen now, this is the format I will be using today. So when you cut between the pieces, there's zero waste, which means that they're a more sustainable way to sew. So I've been looking at the size chart, and the size chart for this pattern puts me at a size F for the waist and a size G for the hips. Now, because it is zero waist, you cannot actually grade this pattern, because if you take some like centimeters, or if you grade the pattern, you're actually going to be altering more than one pattern piece because of the way that the pattern pieces are structured. So I have decided to make size G throughout because I don't want to grade the pattern. What it recommends is that if you make it a little bit too big, then as you're going, once you've cut all the pieces out, you can try it on and you can just make the pattern smaller by making the seam allowance bigger as you're sewing. So I'm going to go for that option, and I don't think that pattern grading on a zero waist pattern would be very successful. Another thing I like to do when I'm deciding on what size I am going to choose to make is to look at the finished garment measurements. So the finished garment measurements for size G is a 94 centimetre waist. So what I like to do is I like to hold the tape measure around my waist at 94 to see how big it will be. So you can see that that is quite a lot bigger than my waist. The Jones trousers are a relaxed style, and they do have an elasticated waist at the back. So I'm hoping that the elastic will make the waist smaller and stop the trousers from falling down, obviously, as well. If I need to, though, I can make the seam allowances larger, which will make the waist smaller. So I might look into that as I am making the trousers, but we'll just have to see how we go on that one. The other finished garment measurement is the hips. So the hips are 116 centimetres. So if I hold the tape measure out, you can see that that's also quite a bit bigger than my actual hip measurement, which is 100. So it's given me lots of ease there, which is great, because remember, they are a relaxed style of trouser, and that's always good to have different style options in your wardrobe. But again, I'll have to see how I get on, and I might have to make the seam allowance for the hips slightly larger to make the garment slightly smaller as well. So this is what it looks like at the moment. This is what I will be cutting out. There is a fold of the fabric under here, and that is because the gusset, which is this large triangle piece in the middle, is actually cut on the fold. This piece here, if you can see, my table's just not quite wide enough, is the front leg. So you can see that looks like a front leg piece with the gusset in the middle. We've got the back leg here. We've got the back pocket, which we're going to cut two of, because remember, it's folded. So each piece we cut, we're going to cut two. Then we've got all these other bits, which are like inseam pockets. I believe there's a waistband. I did have a really good look last night, but not all of the pattern pieces are labelled. There's a fly piece as well. So all of these little pieces that fit together like a jigsaw puzzle, which will eventually make the trousers. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start cutting. I'm going to be cutting around the pattern line of size G, and as I go along I'm going to take a time lapse, so you should be able to see how that goes, and we'll be able to look at the shape of the different pattern pieces once I've finished. So here are all the cut pieces for the Jones trousers. The cutting was actually quite straightforward. As you can see, this one here has been cut on the fold. That one doesn't get cut down the centre, but the other ones do. As you can see, there's very little waist. This is all that's left from the whole pair of trousers. So I will hold on to that. I will find some purpose for that, I'm sure, but really good because there's hardly any waste fabric at all. Fantastic. So as we just looked at, I've got all the pattern pieces for the Jones trousers ready to go and cut out. I can't wait to start making these trousers. I've thought about it, and I'm not going to stop at every single step to show you making these trousers. There are a lot of steps, and I don't want this clip to be too long. So what I've decided to do is to stop at key points of the trouser making. So for things like fitting or other things that I find really interesting that I think you might like to see as well. So I'm going to make a start on these, and I will show you my progress as I go. So this is the progress I have made so far on the Jones trousers. This is the front that you are looking at the moment. It's got these gorgeous box pleats, which I've just put in. This is the fly that I have put in. I'm really pleased with how that's gone in. The instructions have been really clear and really good for that, so that's fantastic. I've obviously attached the two front pieces. This is the hanging loop, which will go on later. This is the belt loop. It's one long continuous piece at the moment, but I'm sure when the time comes I'll be chopping them down and they will become the individual belt loops. And this is the button loop that will attach to the waistband to hold the button in place. My next steps now are to add the pockets to the front and put the darts in the back legs, and I assume soon I will be attaching the trouser front to the two back pieces. So I'll let you know how I get on, but this is where I'm at the moment. So I'm really pleased with the progress I've been making on these Jones trousers. The pockets have gone in, so now I have got pretty much the whole front done, and I thought that the best way to show you this would be actually showing you standing up, because there's so many gorgeous details that I wanted to go through with you. So these lovely box pleats we've seen, the fly we've seen, but these pockets were really interesting and fun to construct. You can see what they look like on the other side. So they're actually just cut as one long piece, which is really interesting. And then this one even has a pocket inside the pocket. I don't know if you can see, but it's got another little pocket just in there. So that is the front, ready to be attached to the back. And then I thought I would show you the back, which is ready as well. It looks like this. So these pockets are actually the shape from when you cut out the crotch area. That is where these pockets are shaped from. And you can see I've put the little "you can't buy this" tag. That's the Kylie in the Machine tag. So the pockets are on, those darts are in. I'm ready to attach the gusset. These trousers have a gusset in between the legs, so I'm ready to do that, and then they will start to come together pretty quick, I think. Okay, we are to here, and so far I am super impressed with these trousers. Now I haven't pressed any of the seams yet, but you can see that the waist side seams sit here, which is pretty much perfect. Now remember that the back will be quite baggy because we're going to put some elastic in there, but overall I am really impressed with how these trousers are turning out, and they're obviously very comfortable. They've got lots of room in them, and I can imagine definitely wearing these in spring and summer. So the next thing I have to do is to attach the waistband, and do all those fun little details like the belt loops and things like that. Obviously the button loop, and the hang loop. So it's all starting to come together nicely, and I will show you the next progress when I get there. I don't know if you can see, but the gusset has turned out like that. So some really lovely features, some really interesting features on these trousers. Okay, so I have altered this camera angle slightly, and I feel like this is a better angle for us to look at the fit of the trousers. I'm super impressed with how they're going. Obviously you can see they're not finished. I've got this part here is just pinned on. The belt loops have not been stitched up yet, so it's still a little way to go, but you can see that on the whole, that waistband is in, the elastic is in. I feel like at this point I want to make that elastic a little bit tighter. I feel like, which I can do, I just need to unpick one of these side channels and then I can make that a bit tighter. I feel like that would be better. I also am wondering about the seat area. There's quite a lot of room there, and I'm wondering if I could unpick the back legs and the gusset and kind of take that seam in there a bit, because I feel like the front looks really lovely. It's just that bit at the back there which I think the fit could be slightly better. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to tighten up that elastic, and I'm going to unpick this seam and see if I can just take some of that room out of the seat of the trousers. So this is now an inside out try on. So you can see here I've put this Sewn Like a Boss tag from Kylie and the Machine on here, and I have put this You're Like a Pearl tag on the inside. So I'm pleased with that. I haven't finished all of this cutting of the threads yet, but what I've done is I've unpicked that gusset section at the back, and you can see that I have pinned, I'll do a close-up flat on the table of this as well for you, but you can see that I've pinned the gusset piece shorter, and I feel like that actually makes the fit across the seat area just a little bit more flattering. So what I'll do now is I'll show you what that looks like, that seam looks like, what I've done with that seam on the table, and then I will baste that stitch and then show you what it looks like the right side around. So this is what I was just trying to explain to you and show you by trying the trousers on inside out. So these are the back leg pieces, and this piece under here is the gusset piece. Now I don't want to take lots of seam allowance out of this area here, because I think that that will alter the length in the seat, which I don't actually want to alter. So what I've done is I've unpicked it, and then I have pinned it like that, so that I'm only taking seam allowance from the gusset area, and I'll leave the 1 centimeter seam allowance for the back leg pieces. So what I'm going to do now is sew this and then show you what that looks like, and I think that that will improve the fits to how I want it to look. So this is where I am at now. I've made the waist tighter, and I think that it actually looks much better. I feel like bringing that gusset in has made that seat area fit slightly better. So just a quick check-in, here are the Jones trousers where I'm up to at the moment. My next jobs are to complete the belt loops, to sew on the button, to do the cuffs and give it a final press. So I've got 4 jobs to do. Should be able to get them done, and then I'll be able to show you the finished garment. Okay, so what's happened is I've been sewing these belt loops on. You have to fold them under and then sew them on, like bar tack them on, but unfortunately I've broken 2 needles in that process, and even when I turned the wheel on the side of the machine on to gently guide the needle in, it's just not going in. So I think what I'm going to have to do at this point is unpick the top stitching, unpick where the waistband's connected to the top of the trousers, and take the belt loops off. I don't really wear a belt, and I probably wouldn't wear a belt with these trousers anyway, so it's not the end of the world, but I was looking forward to having that as a detail. Maybe if these trousers were made from a slightly thinner fabric, then the belt loops would work. But in this case, unfortunately, I think I'm just going to have to take them off. Okay, some good news here. What I've done is I've unpicked that. That's where the belt loop was. It's a bit messy in there, but what I'm thinking is that I don't have to unpick the whole waistband top stitching. I'm thinking that I could just get away with doing a line. See how there's no stitching there? Doing a line of stitching just across here, and I actually think that that will work. So I've done one. There's only 4 belt loops, thank goodness. So hopefully this shouldn't be as long as a job as I initially thought. So for those of you who want to know how I'm doing this, I am pulling it out so I can see those stitches in the middle, and I am ripping those stitches out, and I think I'm going to find one of my broken machine needles that I couldn't find. So that is interesting. And then I'm just going further down. I am going to find one of the broken machine needles. I'm just going further down and kind of pulling. I'm pulling it quite hard actually to try to get those stitches out. And there it is, the machine needle from before. Can you see that? So, found that. And then I'm literally just trying to unpick the stitches the best I can until, without obviously, it's a bit tricky because I don't want to damage any of the fabric, until the belt loop comes free, which you can see it's doing now. And there we go. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to tuck all of those little loose ends in there best I can. I'm doing it from the outside obviously, and then I'm just going to stitch down there. So here they are. They're almost done. I've got that button on. I've taken the belt loops off. I was thinking if you have any tips on how to sew on really thick belt loops, then I would really appreciate that if you could leave them in the comments box below, because today clearly it didn't work for me. So if you want to, you could do that. I've just got the cuffs to go now, and then I will be done. And here are the finished trousers. I'll do a twirl, a close twirl, and then I'll go far away. I'll do a far away twirl. You can see the button is on. I've done cuffs at the bottom, and I'm super pleased with how they've turned out. They're very, very comfortable. They'll be great for spring and summer. They are a new style for me, which is what I was hoping for. And I love the colour, the fabric, this lovely drill. Remember, it's the Robert Kaufman drill fabric. It's really comfy and soft. So I'm super pleased with how they've turned out. All of those lovely features. And now I've finished. And that is it for today's YouTube episode. Just quickly before we go, I thought I'd wanted to show you some of those details up close. So I decided to use that button. I think it's quite a nice grey button which matches nicely, and also I wanted to show you the cuff detail because I didn't get to show you that close up. I would just like to say thank you so much for watching today's episode. I really enjoyed making this one. I love these trousers. I can't wait to wear them. I also wanted to say thank you so much for the support that everyone has shown my YouTube channel so far. And just to remind you that if you liked this clip, you can subscribe to my channel. And also, if you like this clip, you could click the like button as well. If there is anything you would like to see from me in my coming YouTube clips, then please let me know in the comments box below. I'd love to hear from you, and I'd love to find out what you would like to see from me. Next week I'm going to be showing you the things that I've made so far this year. So obviously these trousers will feature, and there are a few other things which I am planning on showing you as well. Thanks again for watching today. I hope you have a wonderful day, evening, afternoon, whatever time it is for you, and I'll see you here again soon.